we're interested in. We're quite happy for you to walk us through whatever you want to show, but the two items we want to see, the mentorship program management, that's quite important for us, and two, how your listserv functionality works with document sharing and your team organization approach. That is, what can we do for our special interest groups with higher logic that is better than what we're doing at the moment? Aside from that, we're kind of wide open.
Perfect. Those are home runs for me. Those are basic and perfect things to touch upon today, and I'll do a really good job of covering those areas. So wonderful. Anything else before we got started today, guys? I'll take silence as a no. So for you guys who don't know anything about Higher Logic, we've been in business since 2007. So we're in our 11th year of business. We're currently supporting about 2,500 associations and nonprofits of all types and sizes, powering close to 300,000 online communities with about 50 million users of our platform located all over the globe. So global company, have been growing rapidly. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years, with hire number 67. We're currently at about 360 full-time people. So as you can imagine, it's a ton of growth, and we've just been really solidifying ourselves as the go-to resource for associations and organizations who have a forward-thinking mentality around engagement and need help with it. So we have a 98% retention rate of our own, which is extremely rare, just like your retention rate. But especially within the software space, we tend to keep clients for the long haul because we know what it takes to build successful communities. We know what it takes to get members engaged. We know what it takes to have members continuously engaged, which is the biggest thing. We know how to help improve your membership numbers and really achieve real business outcomes, whether it's more registrations, whether it's new member acquisition, whatever it is, we help our clients achieve those goals. We integrate almost with all of the AMS systems out there, including Impexium. They're one of our partners. So when you guys do go live, or if you switch in 5 months or so to Impexium, that integration's already built. No really technically heavy lifting. It's something that we've done, hundreds of times at this point. It's really a technically light project from that perspective too. So I think the biggest reason we have such a high retention rate is that last checkbox you guys see at the bottom of the screen, which is the guided implementation and best practices. So we don't just power the software and say, hey, good luck guys, thanks for paying us. It doesn't work that way. We invest in our customers just like you invest in us. We hold your hand throughout the implementation process. We're standing up 2 clients a day at this point to really ensure that you guys have all the tools and the knowledge to not just launch a community, but maintain a successful community. We educate, we train you, we instill best practices in you. So that's why our clients stay with us, because they become community experts on their own from our out-of-the-box training and support and community strategy. So at the end of the day, Higher Logic, in essence, yes, we're an online software company. Yes, we're a community provider, but at the end of the day, we're an engagement company. We focus on being able to help you all better engage with members, help members get more out of their membership, and help engage members in a way that makes sense. You all well know that you can't just provide one avenue for members to engage. You have to provide different options. And the breakdown of what you see on the screen now is really the levels in which we reach your members. So when we talk about building that presence online, we seamlessly integrate with your database, place the community tools within your existing website, and build that presence online where members know to go to ask questions, see those resources, know who to connect with from that annual meeting. Whatever it is, we build that repository online, which is a no-brainer for us. Beyond that, we do have programs around volunteer management, something to consider later on down the line. We have about a decade's worth of best practices around that local aspect, which is your annual meeting or any other in-person meetings you do. Sounds like you guys have been doing a phenomenal job with your annual meeting in terms of converting some of those people who attend those meetings to being full dues-paying members. We can help sort of stimulate that growth as well. Building a community around that annual meeting is our best practice. It allows folks who register for the event to start their networking conversations early, allows them to get excited about the event, maybe have the keynote speaker from your event post in that community, really get excited and know what to expect when they attend that meeting in person. But then more importantly, how do members continue to engage when that meeting is over? The meeting is 1 or 2 days long. Well, if you build that community, you digitize that conference experience, members can continue that conversation they had in person and really get much more out of that overall experience. It's a 1 or 2 day event, but they can be an all year round experience within the community, because that's what we do. We help build community around what you all are already doing. Education. If you guys do anything with webinars, we have tons of best practices around that. If you guys introduce a learning management system in the future, that's something that can seamlessly integrate into the community experience as well. And then finally, something that I think is really inherently important to you all and how you're structured, advocacy. Think about building a community for each one of your special interest groups, each one of your councils, each one of your committees, even a project. You guys can build unlimited communities. It allows each one of those people inside of those committees to be more accountable. You have a working group, right? You have places where members can talk about projects. You have the board of directors community upload and track their meeting minutes. It's a way to build community around how you're structured. It helps those groups be more efficient, helps hold them accountable, and helps you guys have one-stop shop for everything you might want to do from a digital standpoint. So what we like to call this is holistic engagement. because you're engaging members all year round in a way that makes sense for them, all within one centralized platform. So selfishly and biasedly, there's a laundry list of why organizations work with Higher Logic, because they expect to see results. But these are really the main things that we expect to see as terms of results from when clients work with us. We're going to boost engagement, right? Whether return on engagement yields to more conference registrations, whether it yields to non-dues revenue, engagement is typically where everything starts, and there's many results beyond that. Most of our clients average about an 8% increase in retention, member retention, just after working with us. Obviously, guys, you have a phenomenal retention, but there's a small slice of improvement in there. We want to get to as close to the 100 as possible. But really, it's an engagement tool, it's a retention tool. And if you guys are looking to expand membership, if you know there's more market share in terms of potential members, you can leverage the community as a way to help bring in those members. What that means is that much of what is inside of an online community is member-driven content, right? It's content that's happening between members. If your goal is to grow and get more members, you can actually crowdsource some of that content to help build SEO, or what you see on the screen now, search engine optimization. So when someone goes to a Google or a Bing, whatever search engine they use, they may type in something relative to APM. They may see some of that open content within the community, but we might strategically put up a wall and say, hey, you must be a member to access the rest of this thing. Apply here. And that inherently will help you all expand. We've helped our clients expand vastly in some instances, some as high as 70% where applicable. It's very much a members only benefit, so you can leverage that in order to tease membership and bring in new folks. Finally, in the back end, when I talked about data earlier, everyone's talking about big data these days, and our platform produces a crazy amount of data. I think last year we recorded about 50 billion interactions just on our platform. We give you the data and the business intelligence to make better data-driven decisions, understanding who your members are, what your most active members are, what's your most popular topic this month, how can you better serve your members? Well, you have the data at hand to understand what they're doing, and you can understand how to better serve them in the future. So the solutions. I'm going to go through the solutions on the left side of the screen individually. That's our core solution. And then we're going to talk about the mentor match system, again, in the orange as well, because that's really going to be a focus for today. If there's anything else that you guys are interested in, I'll pause and you can let me know, because everything you see on the left side of the screen is our core platform, so that comes out of the box. Everything you see on the right side of the screen are our additional solutions that can be purchased a la carte individually, either upfront or later on during relationship with Higher Logic. So again, I'll describe the things on the left and I'll pause for questions. So where really engagement starts within Higher Logic is discussion groups. Discussion groups are a pretty tangible piece of software. It's that intuitive place within the community where members can post questions, start conversations, and do so in a way that makes sense. But what's really cool about Higher Logic is that we blend what's good about an old school listserv, which you're familiar with, and we bake it into the community. What that means is that if members have the ability to read and reply to emails, they have the ability to actively participate in a Higher Logic discussion group, which is huge. We have demographics ranging from, I think our most popular demographic is a 60-year-old person. And I think that's because of the email functionality. But we do a really good job of capturing those younger members as well by providing an intuitive community where discussion groups might happen. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a few minutes. Beyond that, everything is 100% responsive with Higher Logic. Everything works on any mobile device, anywhere, at any time. We have resource libraries for resource sharing. Files, documents can be stored in a centralized resource library within each community. So the board of directors can store their meeting minutes. That membership committee can, store RFPs or case studies. Members can upload various articles. Any valuable documentation can be held, stored, tagged, and labeled within a resource library. We have wiki glossaries, which is essentially a digital textbook for keyword terms. We have a blogging capability if you guys want to do anything in blogs. We have directories where members can search and find one another. Gamification, big part of the platform. Gamification is huge. Some people think gamification is kind of silly. I think I'm a big fan of it. Essentially, gamification within a Higher Logic is a way to reward your champion members. So gamification might look like giving members engagement points, giving them various point totals for when they take activities or do activities within the community. It might look like giving somebody a digital badge or digital ribbon on their profile within Higher Logic for when they earn that professional designation, when they've been a member for 10 years, or when they're, earned something fun, they tweet, whatever it is. You guys can build badges around different accomplishments that members achieve. You can even have something fun like a most active members board. Just a great way to promote your champion members, but inherently motivate other members to take action as well. Talked about the analytics and business intelligence at the back end already. We have event calendars, which are not going to replace any calendar you have in your main website. The event calendar within Higher Logic is personalized and unique to each individual member when he or she logs in. So if I'm Steve and I'm part of the let's just say the annual meeting committee, I'm going to be seeing events on my calendar relative to the fact that I belong to that group, as opposed to James, you're on the executive committee, you're going to be seeing events relative to you based on the fact that you belong to the executive committee community. So really personalizing that calendar experience. Something I want to talk about in a few minutes, but in a little more detail, is what you see in the top left corner, which is the automation rules. You guys are going to love the automation rules. The automation rules are essentially figured out the small, tedious manual things that are necessary to have a successfully engaged community. These are all automated workflows coming in the form directly, mainly in emails, asking members to do something specific based on who that member is and the things they either have or have not done in the community. Helps automate much of the processes that are necessary to manage and maintain a successful community. And I'll talk about that again in a few minutes. So I want to pause, because I know I'm going very quickly here. I want to pause for a quick second and see if anyone had any questions for me on the solutions on the left side of the screen. And if we're all on the same page and silence, I can take that as a no, we're good. All right, so mentor match. I'm going to focus on that today. So mentor match is essentially kind of operates like that Match.com mentality, but in a much more professional setting and for your members. Where in the community, I can raise my hand as a mentor. I can say what my areas of expertise are, how I prefer to mentor somebody, and I can be recognized and searched for as a mentor. Same thing goes for the mentee. I can say, hey, I'm going to learn in these areas. Who can teach me? We can leverage automation to connect these folks. We can put a formalized mentoring platform within the community so we can help members get more out of their membership, and you guys don't have to track manually people who want to participate, who don't want to participate. It's all within one centralized platform, which I'll show you here in a little bit. So were there any questions or any interests in anything in the orange on the right side of the screen? Okay.
What about the volunteer manager?
Yeah, absolutely. So volunteer manager was essentially built to help support what your volunteering efforts might look like. What do you guys do for volunteering? What does volunteerism look like now for you all?
Well, I think we would define that perhaps as all of our subcommittee work. Would you agree with that, James?
Yes, I would. We got a very healthy group of volunteers, Steve. And right now, I think that we could probably use some tools to help manage that.
Absolutely. That's what that was built for. So I'm assuming, so do you guys tend to have the same volunteers volunteer year after year, whatever the time period is? It's always the same bucket of folks typically?
Straight. No, that's not
Gotcha.
true. So there's a lot, right? So maybe at least 25 to 50%, would you say, James, of the same kind of volunteers year after year? And it's actually can be difficult to pull in new members or new volunteers into those subcommittees. So it's all a self-referral process of somebody having to volunteer themselves to do it versus us reaching out specifically.
Gotcha. And we hear that type of thing all the time as well. There's been third-party studies that have found that there are many more members willing to volunteer. They just really don't know how to get involved. And our volunteer manager is actually built because clients kept asking us to do it because they were tracking volunteers manually. They had the same volunteers over and over again. The sort of theme around volunteer managers help to sort of put a digital system in place to help you track volunteerism, help put a formal place where volunteers can work, where people can sign up to volunteer for various opportunities, and where you guys can create these opportunities and then find volunteers who match the criteria that you have for that volunteer opportunity. So what you see on the screen now is really kind of a simplistic sort of representation of the volunteer process, where you create the opportunity within the Higher Logic community platform. It might be like, hey, I need somebody to serve in this committee for the next 6 months. I need to have this much experience and, have this particular, demographic or whatever it might be. So you created the event, right? And then based on that criteria, we can automatically find members, because every member is going to have a volunteer profile. We can find members who match that criteria for that event. Then we can have a targeted call to action for each one of those folks. Those folks then review the opportunity, decide whether they can do it. They can also nominate other people to do it. And then we can reward those folks for taking action. Then the really cool part is you have a dashboard where you can track all these efforts. You can report on it. You can understand how many opportunities you have, how many volunteers you have, how many open opportunities do you have, how many hours have they contributed, and what real dollar value does that mean for the organization. So it's an awesome system. I'll show it to you today. It's really, it's meant for organizations with your structure, and I'm definitely excited to show it to it. So jumping back here, sorry. Any other questions? So we'll focus on mentor, we'll touch volunteer. Any other interest on anything in the orange? I'll take silence as a no again. All right, so I want to explain the automation rules one more time. Very
Marilyn, isn't mentor match one of the things you guys are interested in, or no?
Yeah, he's already got mentor match as part of our discussion items.
Okay. So he's going to show it to us, or you already have it?
I'm going to show it to you.
Got it.
So one last thing to describe, then we'll jump out into the software, guys. So automation rules. So again, this is part of the core platform. The automation rules operate in the mentality of being able to send the right message to the right member at the right time. Again, depending on who that member is and the actions they either have or have not taken within the community. These are all automated workflows, mainly coming in the form of emails, going directly to members to ask them to do something specific. So you might be wondering, like, all right, we have this community. How do we get either it launched? How do we get people adapted to it in the beginning? Or how do we get people who just joined the organization actively engaged? If we get those first-year members engaged from day one, they're much more likely to be a lifetime member, because first-year member retention is really important. So we figured out how to get somebody involved. And one of our most popular automation rules is onboarding a new member. James, let's say that you're a new member, you've just joined the organization. How do we get you involved from day one? Just as you would normally, you're going to get an email, maybe from the membership director, whoever it might be, saying, hey, James, welcome to the organization. We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining. Here are a list of your member benefits. Here's one of your top benefits that I want you to access today. It's your exclusive online community built just for APM members. Click here to log in and introduce yourself. Maybe 3 or 4 days go by and James actually hasn't done anything with that email yet. We'll send him another email from the same person saying, hey, James, still notice you haven't taken action yet, still notice you haven't logged into the community. Based on who you are, look at this conversation going on, thought you'd enjoy it. Click here to introduce yourself or post. So James finally clicks that link. He posts in the community for the first time. He's taken that first step. Maybe a few days later, he gets another email saying, hey, James, great post. Thank you so much for contributing. But we noticed you didn't upload your profile picture within your profile. Click here to do that because you're 40% more likely to get a response to your post if you had a profile picture. So then James logs in again, and he takes that next step. The idea is through the power of automation, we're going to work a member up this commitment curve you see on the screen to get her or him to do more complex things within the community over time. And again, these are all automated workflows, so we have campaigns already built around letting people know when their dues are set to expire, letting them know when event registration opens. The system's even smart enough to realize that, hey, James, notice that you're friends with Christina. She registered for the annual meeting. Notice you haven't yet. Click here. We can even let somebody know when they haven't logged in a certain period of time. Like, hey, James, we miss you. Notice you haven't been in the community in a while. Check this out. So the idea is actually limiting the amount of emails that members get and saving you all a ton of time. When members do get emails, they seem like they're coming from someone real, and it makes sense for that person because they're all personalized calls to action and saving you guys, again, a ton of time because you don't have to worry about reaching out to members manually. So I want to see if that made sense, see if you guys have any questions, and if it makes sense, don't say anything, and we'll continue forward. Perfect. So I'm going to skip through a couple slides here because I want to jump into the software. Obviously, if you guys are familiar with ASAE, we've been working with them for a long time. They actually found that members are much happier statistically when they are in their community, and they actually found that members that were in their community spent $3,000 or on average, and that was about 5 times more than somebody who didn't use the community. So they were spending $3,000 on non-dues items. So if you were in the community, you went to more events, you bought more books, you bought more publications, whatever it is, the community drove a lot of value for them. With that, we can talk about the education, training, and support. It's ongoing with Higher Logic. We train you in person. We can train you online. We do a lot to support you all and have an ongoing relationship with you all because it truly is a partnership. But for the sake of time, we can dive into those things later. So that's a transition to the software. Did anybody have any questions before I jumped into the software? All right, perfect. Let's jump out. So you all should be seeing APM's main website currently. Everyone seeing that clearly?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
All right, so this is the community that I built out for you all earlier this morning. So keep in mind, your community could look entirely different from this because we have the flexibility to really configure and customize a solution that you guys would want it to look like. So everything you see on the screen can be changed. You can call the community whatever you'd like. You can change around the navigation and sub-navigation. All these different boxes and widgets can all be configured as well. This is just what I built today, and I'm by no means a web developer, but I think it looks pretty good based on my lack of experience. So the first thing to note is that I'm logged in already as Steve the member here in the top right corner. Again, we're fully integrating with your database, whether it's I4A or Impexium. So because of that integration, everything is single sign-on or SSO. What that means is that I'm leveraging the same login credentials I have now to pay dues as I have to get to the community. So it's all fluid and seamless experience for the end user. As we continue down the main homepage here, you'll be seeing something called latest discussion. This is similar to an RSS feed in the sense that this is the latest and greatest conversations happening inside the communities that I, as Steve, the member, specifically belong to. So in this instance, I belong to the all-member open forum. So I'm seeing the conversations from the open forum. If I belong to the executive committee or the annual meeting planning committee or the special interest group, I'd be seeing the conversations from those groups because that's what makes sense for me. You guys well know that if members have to dig for interesting content, they're not going to dig for very long. We do a really good job of creating a personalized experience right in the homepage of the community, and a lot of that begins from showing and exposing relative and interesting content based on who I am, the type of member, and the content that I'm interested in. I'm showing you both the ready to join box and the welcome back box for a reason. In a normal community, you obviously would not be seeing both of these because it doesn't make sense. When I'm logged in as a member and I'm a full dues paying member, you might see something like welcome back, right? Because the system knows who I am. But I'm showing you this ready to join button maybe as a non-member. Maybe I was not a member and I was looking at the community from a basic standpoint. I might not be seeing any of this content here. I might be seeing some open forum or some member benefits information. We can prompt people to join the organization through the community by saying, hey, I noticed you aren't a member yet. Click here to apply or join now. Here you see a member of the month. That's something fun that we've chosen to do. You don't have to do that. But as you continue down, what's really important to realize is that from the main homepage of the community, we want to make it very easy for members to do significant but basic things right from the homepage. So I might want to set up my profile for the first time. I may want to start a discussion post. I want to share a file or document to the resource library. I may want to expand my professional network by clicking connect with your peers, which will route me to the directory where I can search and find that person I met last week at the annual meeting. So again, basic things to do just from the main homepage here. We can promote your annual conference. We can leverage your existing social media footprint by pulling in your Twitter feed if you like. If you guys build a Facebook page, you can do that same thing. You can actually promote the community within your Twitter feed so you get any of those non-members who are on the Twitter feed into the community and hopefully convert it to a full dues paying member. The theme there is creating a one-stop shop for anything social. You might want to promote your mentoring program within the homepage as well. If I hit enroll in mentoring today, this will start my journey as a mentor, which I'll show you here in a second. If you want people to volunteer, this is our volunteer manager where I can learn all about the latest volunteer opportunities and what it really means to be a volunteer, which again, I'll show you in a few minutes. You'll see a list of upcoming events here. And again, this is relative for me and the type of member I am, events that I'm interested in, not just a general event calendar. You'll see an example of gamification down here. This is the most active members board. I used to be on this list personally here, but I went on vacation for 2 weeks, so I'm not on this list anymore. I'm kind of irked by that because I'm naturally a competitive person. You can imagine that your members might be competitive as well. They're going to be proud to be on this board, and they're going to be motivated to do things within the community if they're not on this board, and that's just a simple example of gamification. So if we go up to the main navigation here, we're going to click communities, and we're going to do all communities. So again, you all would be able to build as many individual communities as you'd like. You have unlimited users on our platform, and you can build as many communities as you'd like. So you can have an open forum where all members can come to talk about general topics. You can have a community for your annual meeting. So when somebody registers for your annual meeting through Impexium, have them automatically be put into that annual meeting community. That's a best practice automation rule we have. You can have a board of directors community, a membership committee community, or any committee, any special interest group, a chapter, whatever it is, and as many communities as you'd like. And each one of these individual communities can have unique security settings around them as well. The open forum.
From Impexium?
What's that?
Be from Impexium, the committee,
yeah.
The committee, okay.
It's part of the standard integration, absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. So the open forum.
If I clarify, so just so I can clarify, so again, that the board of a certain committee or subcommittee, that there can be just access codes, so only those members can access those, correct?
Well, part of the integration is recognizing security groups. So the only way I'm going to access certain groups is if I'm on that board of directors or that committee. We can realize that. And if I wasn't serving on a particular committee, we can have it set up to where I wouldn't even know that community existed. It wouldn't be an option for me.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And that's the variation between having a private community and an open community. You can even have semi-private communities. Say you want somebody to join a community or a committee, you can actually have that be semi-private, but then you guys decide whether to let that person in or not once they click that button. And we also have something called nested communities. It's built for the sort of support that subcommittee sort of structure. where you can have committees under a committee. We can support that same logic as well. Like say the membership committee had a subcommittee under it. You might have somebody be part of panel A and panel B, but not part of panel C. We can actually build out that structure and give each one of those smaller committees their own community as well. And that's an additional feature we have called nested communities. So if we dive into the open forum as an example. So it looks a little bit similar to the main homepage, but again, a community built for this specific group of people, where you're seeing the latest discussion posts, you're seeing the latest shared files. It's really, really easy to upload a file as well. I'll show you exactly. So all I have to do is, as you guessed, hit upload file. Pulls in this tool here where I can drag and drop documents from my desktop. I can choose files from my computer. I can choose files or documents or content from all these different various options here. As an example, I'm going to record a video really quickly. So, not very dressed up today because it's Friday, once it loads. So this is me. And all I have to do to start recording a video is hit record video, and it can be whatever I want. It might be a doctor or somebody talking about an experience or just saying hello. It can be a picture as well. I can stop this. And now just like that, the file has been uploaded. It took me about 3 clicks, which is really, really simple. I'll show you where that's been housed as well once we get to the library item up here. So when we talk about listserv functionality, how might that work? So you'll see this download the community vCard option. When I hit download the community vCard, this creates a unique email address and then can automatically save to whatever email tenant I use, so I can easily start conversations directly from my email inbox. Don't have to be logged in ever. But because we're integrated with your database, members are also going to get digest emails or real-time emails based on the communities they belong to. As an example, created a user for James earlier today, and he posted about an hour ago. So good job being active in the community, James. So you see some content here. I posted about who's going to be responsible for the pre-conference courses this year. I pulled in a picture here. And this was started in the community about an hour ago. But let's say that I wasn't logged into the community, and I want to see what was going on. I want to keep tabs on everything that was happening. You'll see that at 10:33 Eastern Time this morning, I got an email from the community. Give this a second to load. And you'll see that I got that email in real time when James posted it. Members can get real-time emails. They can get a daily email or a weekly email or no email at all. They have that option. But say I wanted to answer James's question or I want to contribute to the conversation, all I have to do to stay engaged is hit reply. Pops open a new email, and I can post my reply here. All I have to do to get this in the community is hit send. And in about 10 seconds or so, that reply from email will populate perfectly underneath James's post as if I was logged in. So if members want to get daily digests instead of a real-time email, they have that option as well. As an example, I'm going to go to my Hug emails. Got to find where that is. See that response from email? Where is Hug? There we go. So based on communities that people belong to, they can get a digest email for a given day. So in this, you can see from January 4th, 2018, there were 4 posts within this Hug Coffee Talk group. It could be a fun community. So if I click like the 3rd post, it'll bring me down to the 3rd post, and I can see that post all within one email. Very intuitive, very simple. It was a puppy dog day. If I refresh this page in the community, you see that my reply from email posted perfectly underneath James's post, again, as if I was logged in. Everyone understand how simple that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So it gives people the option of utilizing their email versus logging into the community and doing it there. So whatever they want or most comfortable in doing.
Exactly. And the really cool thing is that no matter where these conversations are happening, everything is stored within the community. So whether you're having conversations via email or within the community itself, we house and store all of these various discussions. So if we go back to discussions here, you'll see a long, long list of all these various discussions. Each one of these words are now keywords. So you better believe if I typed in something relative to Hawaii real estate, this conversation from a month ago would pop up. That's the beauty about a community and not having a listserv. Listservs conversations often get lost. And if we go to the next page here, James, I know you mentioned resource sharing. You actually can upload documents with your discussion posts as well, whether from email or from the community itself. So you'll see here.
Can I also comment, because I'm quite familiar with Higher Logic's platform. The other thing I quite like about what you can do with these discussion groups is that if you attach a document to, let's say Steve had attached a document to the email that he replied to, it also becomes available in the community as well.
Exactly, and this is actually the great demo here is an example of that.
Steve, I'm going to interrupt you one more time here.
Please.
We've got 15 minutes left of this demo, and I want to make sure that we cover the mentorship component, okay?
Yeah, we will get there in about 2 minutes, promise. So quickly, when we talk about resource sharing, you'll see demo there. Great demo is a post from about 3 months ago. So Liam, in this instance, about 3 months ago, uploaded that picture, this picture. It was a document. It can be a Word document, a PDF. The important thing to note is that when Liam or anybody uploads a document that has content inside of it, say a Word document, our system automatically pulls keywords from that document so that it's then searchable in a regular search up here. If you go back to the library, you can see where all these documents are stored, whether in a list format, that video that I just did, or a folder view, which I prefer to look at things. In a folder view, you can look and see how many folders and subfolders we could support and all the documents that have been uploaded just to the open forum. Very simple. So transitioning, every one of your members is going to get a profile. They're going to get a regular profile. We can pull all of these demographics automatically from Impexium. Members can manually update this information, and they can also sync up their LinkedIn profiles. What's really cool to note is that if I were to update my contact information within Higher Logic, that change would also reflect in Impexium and vice versa. So the systems talk to each other through the integration. There's never going to be a discrepancy of data. It's all going to work and flow the same. So you see here that I have a profile, and I also have a mentor and a mentee profile. So when we talk about mentoring, you can build out a page just towards your mentoring programs. As we make the transition, you'll be seeing fun things like you can have mentor testimonials. You can have the most active and featured mentors, the various programs within your mentoring program that you offer, and you can pull in some fun videos about why you should be a mentor. Say I want to get involved in mentoring. We can have an automation rule sent out to say, hey, who wants to be a mentor? Click here to enroll in mentoring. When I click enroll in mentoring, you'll see that I have a step-by-step process in order to get active and engage within this platform, within this program. I already have a profile so that I can skip step one, but say I want to enroll as a mentor. Hit enroll. And now this will pop up in a new window that allows me to update a unique status. Say you only want to be a mentor for 6 months out of the year. You have that flexibility. I could say I want to start being a mentor on April 1st, and I'm only willing to do that until July 31st. That's my slow season. I can choose how many mentees that I'm willing to take on, and then I can save this. That's my status that I just updated. If I go view my mentor profile, you'll see that you can see that status that I just updated here is that top box. I can see any existing relationships that I have, whether it's active or past relationships. I could designate which programs I want to sign up for, whether it's student interns, professional retired. You all decide what actually your programs are, obviously. You can have a bio just towards your mentor or mentee experience. And then you could designate which areas of expertise or topics you have. So I can say I'm an expert in networking, marketing, Spanish. Again, you guys decide those fields. And then you can designate how advanced you are within your career. Once I save that, I am now recognized as a mentor. If I was someone else looking at Steve's profile, I can send Steve a mentor request, and then he can decide whether to take me on as a mentee. Same exact process goes for a mentee. You fill out a similar profile, and you can be both a mentor and a mentee because you can learn in some areas, and you also can teach in others. So it really brings a complete program. If I want to find a mentor, we have a great search capability. So I can say, I want to find somebody who is also in the professional and retired program. I don't know who that person is, but I know I want them to be local here in Arlington, Virginia. So I'm going to take this out real quick. I want them to be in Arlington. I want them to be a specialist in technology. And I want them to be able to meet me face to face. Let's find these mentors. So you see that I have a few options here. These are 3 people that popped up that looked like a great mentor for me. So if I go look at Bobby's mentor profile, I can see Bobby's experience, how many mentors he has, what his topics are, how advanced he is, whatever it may be. And then if I like Bobby, I could send him a mentor request. Any questions on the mentor programs, guys?
This really does take it completely out of the hands of anybody else and really puts it into the hands of the mentors and mentees to make their own matches.
To a certain degree. So we do a good job of facilitating or sparking that relationship, but then yes, you're right. We put it on the shoulders of those folks to actually have the relationship. We have automation that can recognize when people have signed up to be a mentor or mentee but haven't connected with anybody, or if they haven't completed a relationship. So we have that flexibility. But yes, you're right. We facilitate it. We connect these people. But like anything else, it's up to them to actually have that relationship.
Is that a problem from your perspective, Christina?
Not at all.
Yeah. I know that a lot of the work going on behind our scenes is simply not only collecting the data, but then piecing people, with mentees, mentors with mentees, and then sending out that information. And I think this completely does away with all of that.
Yeah. And I think so much of what we've tried to cultivate over the years, or what has been cultivated over the years, is trying to make personal connections. And so it's been up to a subcommittee member or an individual person or persons to try to make individual matches. But given how big we've grown and the increasing size of our mentorship programs, it would be lovely to put some of that from a technology base, the automation, but also allowing our members to find their own relationships too, if we had the tools and availability of allowing them to do that.
I totally agree with Christina. I think, giving some of the control to the person looking for mentorship, I think they can do it on their own time. They're not waiting for somebody else to do this for them on this unknown timeline. I think it would help our younger members quite a bit.
I agree. I think it's really amazing in terms of taking out our factor of doing the liaisoning for people that may or may not work out, because we don't know all the factors, like where they are, whether they want to meet face to face, and what other things are added. So I think it's great. I have to jump off, but this looks great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Okay.
Joining us, Marilyn. Bye, Marilyn.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and guys, I know we're pressed for time. I've really only scratched the surface with even the base platform, but I wanted to show you the basics so far. There's a lot more to both. I didn't even get to show you volunteerism, but I want to leave the rest of the time for any questions or answers. I could jump into things quickly, but what questions might you have, and any other further thoughts would be great.
I have a question. What is the experts item, the menu item? What is that, experts?
So that's one of our add-on features called Expert Directory. So this is a place where if you guys have industry experts, speakers, and you often have maybe industry partners reach out to you and say, hey, I need somebody who's a specialist in this field to come do this task or speak at my annual meeting. You may know like 20 people off the top of your head. The idea on Expert Directory is that you can find that exact person based on the criteria you're looking for. So as an example, I need to find somebody here in Virginia who's a specialist in technology. I don't know who that person is, but I can go search for this person. And again, I can see that Bobby pops up as a potential expert here. I can go look at Bobby's expert profile. And the idea is that now Bobby's represented as an expert within the organization and in the community. Well, I don't know why I routed there, but the idea is that we can understand if Bobby has a speaking fee associated with him. We can look at previous presentations that Bobby's had, and we can decide whether or not he's that perfect person to find or ask to do something based on his experience and his expertise. So every one of your members that have a profile, mentor, mentee, volunteer, and potentially an expert profile. And then in that expert profile, you can have areas of expertise. If Bobby or me is willing to travel, does he have fees? I can look at Steve's past work, and you can have a friendly URL, which is almost a place to market himself as an expert.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody else?
I know we're short on time, but I would really like to see the volunteerism piece.
Okay, we do it quickly. I won't build out a volunteer opportunity, but sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, James, is that okay with you from a time standpoint?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay. I won't build out an opportunity, but I'll show you how to sign up for one. So just how you can have varying levels of profiles, you can have a volunteer profile as well. It's really, really easy to get members to understand, or you guys to understand what members are willing to do. So you have a volunteer bio, you can have volunteering interests, how far you're willing to travel as a volunteer, how many years of experience you have as a volunteer, and what have you done already, both within the organization, these are all the things that I've done already, and outside the organization as well. So if I go to the volunteer manager here, you can see most active volunteers. There's a back-end dashboard I can show you another day as well. There's volunteer opportunities, volunteer programs, and we have the core community as a place to help people, volunteers, collaborate with each other. I can look at the volunteer opportunity, say this opportunity looks great for me. I'm going to perform this simple task. I can cancel my commitment because I already did it. So I can look at this task or this different opportunity. I can see the description, how many volunteers are needed, how much experience I might need, how many points I'm going to earn from doing this thing, and I can also nominate other people to do this as well. Say I'm a great fit for it, but I know I can't do it, but let's say Christina is a great fit. I can nominate Christina. All I have to do to sign up is hit sign up today, because we pre-populate what these descriptions are based on the demographics inside the volunteering. So just like that, I've signed up. In a matter of seconds, I should get an automated email from the volunteer leader in this aspect, with being Liam, saying, thank you for applying. Here's some more details. There's a complete form builder to help build out the volunteer opportunity, which I, for the sake of time, can't show you today. But this is a great place to help have everything done in one place, whether it's somebody, you need a committee, somebody to serve on a committee, you need somebody to hand out water bottles at a 5K, you need somebody to handle table registration for your event. You can have a complete system in place to build those opportunities and find volunteers that match that criteria. You could also go to the volunteer leaderboard and then see your most active leaders. And that's for a 10,000 level foot degree overview of a volunteer manager. You can get a lot more deep too, but for the sake of time. Does that help?
Yes, thank you, Steve. I have a question if nobody else does. I'd like to see, if I wanted to get a report showing who's participating in which mentorship program, can you show me that?
Yep. So it might not populate real things, but if we go to our back-end admin wheel here, only admins get this. I can go down to mentoring today. This is a report you pull to see how many mentees you have, how many relationships you have, a complete list of mentors, and you can view this report. And then you can see all your various mentors here. How awesome is that?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're close to finishing at this point. Are there any last questions for Steve?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for participating.
Absolutely. James, would it be best, do you want me to send a proposal for this?
Yes, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
Anything else I should send you?
Not at this point. I need to debrief with my volunteers to find out what the next steps are going to be.
Okay. Whatever you need, let me know. I'll be in touch if I don't hear from you in a couple of weeks. I know for SRA and ISP, we got them committed early, even though they're not going to be fully launching until the new AMSs are in place. We could do that for you guys as well. If it makes sense, just know there's some flexibility there.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Stephen. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day, phenomenal weekend, and I look forward to continuing a relationship with you all.
Thank you. Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.